Wenger wants transfer windows scrapped. Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger from January 15th, 2012. The Gunners boss is not happy with how the 1 month window works and feels it has an adverse effect on the whole game. And he would welcome its removal completely, as he does not see it as serving any benefit to the clubs involved. He said, I am for scrapping the January transfer window. Either you leave it completely open, you close it completely, but now it's in between where everybody becomes nervous in November until the end of January. It not only makes the manager's job harder, but it's harder for the club as well, even for the players too, because this way it means at the start of every season you can have players saying, if I don't play, maybe I'll leave in January. So they are already less committed to the cause. It gives them an opening. We have gone from a period where you knew if you didn't play you had to be committed. When we played, we had to be committed to a club for your whole life. Maybe it wasn't right, but if you didn't play, you had no other option but to fight for a place. Now we're in a position where players can have a quick and easy way out if it's difficult. When I arrived in England, the window was open until the end of March. It's harder to do deals in January because if you're buying a player who is available but he isn't playing, then in the Premier League the level is so high. Now it takes the player, that player, 3-4 months to adjust. Most of the time a player doesn't leave in the middle of a season unless it's a massive club who comes in and he plays at a small club. Now, guys, what I want to ask you is this: January transfer window, good thing or a bad thing?
January transfer window always has been and always will be a good thing. And the reason why I say that is because if you get to this point in the season, right, and you're a mid-table team or a team that, you know, is looking for that little bit extra to go and push you forward, or a team that's suffering an injury crisis, the January transfer window is the point in the season where you go and make amends to that.
No, I actually find this quite ironic, really, that he criticises it when it's there. It could actually save our season for like the third time in 6 years. It's actually quite ironic, I think. And I was quite shocked to see that he was criticising it again, because he's actually used it quite a lot of times. If you actually look back in the last 10 years or so since it was introduced.
I mean, who do you support, Sam?
I'm an Arsenal fan.
Ah, okay. you and the G-Man are brothers in arms.
Yeah, but if you actually look back, I mean, it sounded like Edu. I think Edu was the first January signing he made, and he arrived the following summer, if I'm right. But it was actually made in January at the time. But then there's so many, obviously, Reyes, Adebayor, Diaby, Walcott, Arshavin. You know, he's used it so many times, and I think what we need is someone like the Arshavin deal. It practically transformed our season in the league and helped us to get back above Aston Villa that season. And I think that's what we need this year to get back into the top four. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, the thing that I'd like to point out about it is that technically he's used it this season in signing Thierry Henry anyway. Yeah. So if it was to be scrapped, there's no Thierry Henry deal. There's no magical re-debut against Leeds. There's no potential resurgence. There's no extra bodies in defence potentially. Yeah. So really, where he's getting off saying that, I have no idea. But in order to save Arsenal right now, I think definitely some short-term deals, maybe loans for some defenders, specifically fullbacks. I think if you guys can get Wayne Bridge on loan to the rest of the season, I think that will definitely help you out at left back, because let's be honest, I think that Andre Santos, he's not fully fit at the moment. I don't think he's fully up to speed. And Kieran Gibbs, I think he's probably caught Robin Van Persie's injury bug, and Robin Van Persie's been rebuilt somehow because he hasn't been injured yet so far this season.
Is this Futurama? Rebuild the robot?
Well, I think he has been rebuilt, because technically, you know, by this time, normally Robin Van Persie's injured. Whereas, you know, as I say, you look at Kieran Gibbs this season, and his injury list is probably longer than my arm right now.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you said longer than your arm and not your leg.
What did you think I was going to say? See, this is the reason why you get called wrong, and this is the reason why there is such a hashtag as SSLJA is a wrongin' on Twitter, because you say
I said arm.
Stupid stuff like
that.
I
didn't say third arm. I didn't say
reason.
third arm, I said arm.
But yo guys, if I just jump in here, I will say in Arsene Wenger's defence, you got to see is what sort of question he was asked. Because if he was asked what does he think about the January transfer window and whether he thinks it should go, then basically he's just giving his true opinions, and he's saying that if there wasn't no January transfer window, he wouldn't be opposed to it. That's what I feel he's basically saying. And at the end of the day, I understand where he's coming from with the whole attitude of players, because if players know that they can move on in January or they're going to get poached in January, or potentially, you know, they're playing good football and might get poached in January. It's a situation where, you know, their mentality is not all there with the club. So that's where I think Arsene Wenger's actually coming from.
Yeah, that's also a valid point. But then this is the other thing that I would say, right? You use that scenario as if clubs are helpless and the clubs can't do anything. And the fact of the matter is, they're not helpless and they can do something. If a bid comes in, they don't have to accept it. Right? I'm going to go and use Sunderland as an example, right? With Arsene Wenger, him going off to the Emirates, right? They were talking about this transfer like Sunderland couldn't do anything about it. When the fact of the matter was, I think Sunderland pocketed somewhere between 6 and 8 million.
Yeah.
Right? This wasn't a case of just Arsene Wenger turning around and saying, right, I want to leave and I'm going and I'm not coming back again. He's on loan for a season and they made 6 to 8 million. Right? Yeah. And if they really, really wanted to keep him, they would have just said, he's our best player. No. End of discussion.
No, exactly.
Irrespective of how he wants to feel, he's not going anywhere. And the perfect example of that is Luka Modric and the whole potential transfer to Chelsea. Tottenham said, he's one of our best players, arguably one of the best creative midfielders in the Premier League. He's not leaving us to go to you or anybody else. Argument done.